I remember dying. I was at peace, I think, if only for a moment.
Were made to serve the king, not rot in idleness, this emptiness. I cannot bear nothing without my king. Not. No. Don't speak that name. Let it be cursed. I died a traitor's death, trampled and torn apart. I thought that would be enough. But I failed him in life. I couldn't. I can't. I clawed my... Arthur? No, please, my blade. My erendite. It remained behind. I cannot face my king without it. My sword belongs to him, as do I. I cannot kneel before... Death was a coward's escape. Erendite. Oh, how I longed to hold it, like I might be worthy. No. I know. I feel that he's... I won't beg forgiveness for my betrayal. I don't even know what I... Please, as his closest confidant, take my blade. And I beg you, let me serve you and Arthur on your journey. Let me prove my devotion. Let me earn his trust again. This.
I wished for someone to find Sir Lancelot's tomb and calm. His suffering had left cracks in the very fabric of... And there are others. What is King Arthur without his faithful? They thrive by his side. Sir Lancelot carries centuries of grief. Keep going.
Done already.
Oh, Lancelot. It was painful to watch what became of him. Confident, steadfast, eloquent. Nothing like the tormented soul you've seen. He was admired by the people and by his fellow knights. He had quite the following, though he never seemed to care for it. Only later did I realize how wrong I had been. He was also much sought after, left a trail of broken hearts wherever he went. But there was only one he ever held in his heart, and that was Avalon. I always believed Lancelot to be honest to a fault. He never hesitated. I trusted him completely, and but it wasn't. I don't know when or how that trust, but know this. Even in betrayal, Lancelot never saw. I forgave him long ago, but I understand why. The rebellion he led hurt not only me, it wounded all. To be the cause of... A truly fascinating... He started out as a court jester, but it quickly became clear he was quite skilled with a blade as well. At first, I suspected he might be a spy for an enemy kingdom, but after he saved my life one day, my perspective changed. Of course, he still could have been a spy, but I decided to keep him close and watch him carefully, just in case. In time, though, he proved to be a loyal companion. He earned my trust, and without hesitation, I knighted him. Well, it didn't surprise me much. That was Dagonet through and through. He always... even when it was my judgment he questioned. Only he and Palamedes ever dared to speak their minds openly in my presence. Dagonet was decidedly less diplomatic than besides. From the start, I dare say, he even managed to make me laugh one last time.
It is you. I wasn't expecting such a grandeur, and I see that you were brought here. That's kind of you, stranger. But you'll have to... These halls ain't fit to welcome a king. Sometimes I forget that not everything's as clear as it once was. But to the point. My name is Gavon. The pleasure is mine, kind lad. This, kind lad, there was once a grim legend that claimed this tomb was built out of fear. Fear of a night. She foretold that all the great knights who were denied the king's favor and they would march on Camelot, seize the capital, shatter the round table to dust, defile the royal relics, and from the ruin, but those are just... This tomb and the king I've been sitting in. No, I would cease to... I'm bound here by but is perfect. Anyone who finds their way here and rests like that calls for a... And the dead? Well, someone to watch over them. Really kind of you, lad. But you see, I once made a habit of carving. Unfortunately, I've misplaced me chisel. It slipped and fell all the way. If you could find it. If we do not spit the dead prefer... Aye. Few in nights these days. No wonder there's so... Hope you find... Glad. Hope you find...
kept us waiting. Your tomb's gathered quite a lot of cobwebs and spiders. Best tidy up a little before you settle in for eternity. Ah, of course. Of all the forgotten knights who never came, you stand closest to the king. When you finally join us, you'll tell us what it was like to hear his voice, to share so many battles by his side. I won't deny my envy, but in death, you'll be our equal. And then we'll speak. I've met many who said their bones sooner or later. You'll find. So yeah, I've been resting in a tomb for the past. Unless I came to this tomb of my own accord, as did many of us. I knew our time was drawing to a close. The gates. I had a few words with Govanon and then headed to the crypt prepared for me with my own. Sometimes I killed 5 knights. 4 I cut down during a tournament. The last I drowned in a river. He was drunk as a skunk. Didn't even comprehend what was happening. Quite the burden to repent for, wouldn't you say? Fine, lad. If someone's to watch over my corpse, I'm glad it's him. I imagine long ago he had more to do. It's been a while since anyone new passed through. I see. But if you fall, then you'll lie in the tomb that's been waiting for. So. Splendid. Lost. Oh, how I missed that rush. As I Here is my oath. I shall be ready to fight at your side whenever you should call upon me. Thank you.
welcome, Your Grace. You did? I was starting to fear that one day I'd have to this. I try not to go that deep. Makes me drowsy. Sometimes I feel like lying down in one of the empty... Thank you. It is a... Here. Take... Ah, some nights wear death like a cloak. And even the grave forgets to cloak. As for the empty grave, every soul... It doesn't mean the end is near. When the body finally rests in the grave. Hope you find...
And so, it is done. Now everything rests. There is. But before I explain, understand this. But it's not the whole story. Not yet. But it's... nothing. Avalon will go on, as it always has. Should people live in fear, or should they be allowed? No. My people may be close to the wordness. What I want is... Arthur and his knights are the pillars of humanity in Avalon. And His Majesty's soul is... unique. It's the best combination we could hope for. Releasing their souls into the wordness would leave a permanent mark of humanity on this land. The wordness wouldn't see us as intruders anymore, but as part of its... Arthur and his knights worked tirelessly to make Avalon ours. This is... Thank you. And before you go, I hereby welcome you as a full member of the Royal Geographers. May you carry the legacy of Iryu the Fast Rider and Eleanor Dunn. May your paths be clear. Farewell, traveler.
is every... Go.
It's...
Meeting him made me reflect on one thing. How many great knights were swallowed by their ambition to sit at the round table. Somewhere along the way, things must have gone terrible. I pity the... I'm glad this one will have a chance to fight at his king's side and serve me.
Getting restless.
to return? Or did someone else need me? Gretel? Where'd you go? He was just here. I know he was. Did I ask to return? Or did someone else need me?
Arthur, at last we stand before one another. It has been a long while, my old friend. Tell me, are you prepared to behold your life as I have seen it? Are you ready to face the weight of choices you never made, and the paths you allowed to wither? You could have stalled its return. You could have held fast to the path once chosen and become what I intended you to be. Had you allowed me to complete your transformation, you would stand as lord over them all. The Pale Lady's grief would have been soothed, the wound between worlds sealed, and the Red Death would never have stirred again. Tell me, Arthur, how does it feel to see centuries of suffering that never had to be? All of it could have been spared had you not faltered. War demands sacrifice, and sacrifice must be seen through.
I remember dying. I was at peace, I think, if only for a moment. Shall not waste it.
Had you allowed me to finish what I began, Sul and Caradoc would not have suffered in vain. I did all that could be done to secure your victory. All that was required of you was to claim it. And even that you failed to do. You proved yourself weak, unworthy. No one, and now you cling to yet another. Tell me, Arthur, what will you are the true poison of this. our men had to die on the battlefield before you finally opened your eyes and did what was necessary.
Did I ask to return? Or did someone else need me? My songs were sung for me. Let this battle be my first. For Avalon!
Do you remember how long it took to decide to imprison the giant's children? You kept refusing to use them as leverage, even though it was clear from the start. What did the lives of a handful of children matter? Tell me, Arthur. Or you look upon it carefully. You could have had everything, Arthur. You could have been everything. It was within your grasp. But you were too weak, too uncertain to claim true greatness.
You call in the dead open. How very royal of you. Did I ask to return? Did someone else need me?
Stand to your command. You were peace once. Then you spoke my name. Is there no end to your command?
You never understood that by turning away from becoming a Four-Dweller, hope for peace, for order, for strength, for the taming of the weirdness. Had you heeded me, the Four-Dwellers would have vanished from this world, and the pure potential of you would have stood. What a... Arthur, all has been said. Are you prepared now to... Judgment. Step forward, coward. Step forward, coward.
Still fighting. I was fading. I was happy fading. overread. Let this battle be my first.
Then you spoke my name.
You wear his shadow. Is that why I came?
Then you spoke my name.
Await your command, my king. This battle be my first.
Then you spoke my name. You call and the dead obey. How very royal. I need peace once. Then you spoke my name. Any knife left to serve you?
Pass me by in life, my king. See me now.
You call and the dead obey. How very royal.
I have long awaited your command, my king.
Merlin. What? He said all that needed to. Merlin wished to end the war as quickly as possible. The price of such a victory. Yet he was right. So many points. It was a hollow victory. This land is forever tainted by death. I hesitated to use the giants. I spared, and now, instead of flourishing, you have too good a heart. I wish we lived in a better world. One where I wouldn't have to worry about that. But we do not. Please, do not try to absolve me. I can only hope that my...
I'd ask you not. Greetings. Farewell.
So, you finally met. I hope you're ready, because this is it. Philosophically, not you specifically. This is the Charred Conclave, a graveyard for druids, burned alive as scapegoats for the Red Death. They spoke out. They should have stayed silent. They believed their ancient knowledge, ugly and painful truths from times long past, could save Avalon. But people don't want the truth. Cruel rituals. They called it wisdom. But to the people, everything they did, the druids believed their results would justify the costs. They thought Avalon would see them as saviors. Well, the Red Church and their politicians made sure of that. It's always so. Well, death doesn't... And so you're the... To greet you. I was once where you are now, and here I found my... Well, first, you're going to meet my former employer. We don't see eye to eye anymore, but we both realize that our collaboration yields results. As shown by... He'll try to sugarcoat the hard truths I've been telling you from the beginning. Spin them differently. Why waste time here talking about it when you're just a step? Just remember, once you've stepped through... But if you've come this far, go on.
At last we meet. I've heard much about you. Your choices, your determination. Caradoc isn't easily impressed, but he was impressed. Few dare to seek the truth buried in Avalon shadows. Fewer still make it this far. I was the first. Caradoc followed when my brethren burned and the tear opened. And now, here you are. Oh, forgive my lack of manners. I am Orin, the last apprentice of Merlin, and the last archdruid of Avalon. I've carried the weight of this land's secrets longer than I care to admit. But names mean little. What lingers here, it's older than Avalon. Older than anything we know. What you see is the beginning of weirdness itself, its purest form. Raw potential, unshaped by anything but its lack of boundaries and limits. Oh, precisely the opposite of what Caradoc wants. I want you to... Ridiculous, I know. But yes, that's what it boils... Ultimately, though, both are... Yes. By the end of his life, Arthur became obsessed with his legacy. He left mementos, artifacts that embodied the virtues he wanted Avalon to preserve. Excalibur, a symbol of loyalty and sacrifice. The crown of Pendragon, a beacon of courage and resilience. The shield of Palamedes, wisdom and independence. But Merlin and the others didn't believe that would be enough. The memory of war and the fragility of peace, so they acted. When the king died, his soul wasn't allowed to move on. It was shattered, bound to those artifacts. A clever solution, but ultimately flawed. They feared losing what Arthur represented more than losing Arthur himself. They thought the king's essence. You can't pick and choose with a soul, but that's exactly what Merlin did. He focused on 3 parts of Arthur: his strength, wisdom, and courage. He left out 2 pieces. One, tainted by the Four Dwellers' magic, was deemed too dangerous. The other was his humanity. the most fragile part. Merlin thought compassion and doubt were weaknesses, unfit for a king. Without them, Arthur became hollow. A king with power, that way Avalon's great. I tried, and I found his humanity. It's here, bound, kept safe. But the Four Dwellers' aspects was left to drift, untethered between worlds. Finding it needed more than magic. It needed someone like you. The horrors you endured on that island gave you something no one else has. You can move through the weirdness, touch it. That's why you found the King's soul. You flatter me. No, I couldn't have predicted all of that. I merely nudged the Red Church in the right direction, and asked Carrot, I can see you. I want to bring back our king, whole and complete. Because I've seen what happens without him. Weirdness preys on the weak, and the people, if ever they're left without him, without guidance. If things continue this way, Avalon will tear itself apart long before weirdness fit. They will follow him. Help me bring the king back. Now you need to... I made my case. Please keep in mind what this is the only way.
I was there when it all began, when Arthur first set foot on Avalon. I was a knight in his army. We believed in him, in his dream, in his kingdom. Every battle felt like a step closer to peace. But then came the cost. The war crimes. We turned from knights into butchers. All because at first I told myself it was necessary. That it was the price of building something great. That's when I realized Arthur wasn't a god, a savior, or a king, and no man should have the power to demand such sacrifices. But do you understand why I'd like to believe that after 600 years, you need to understand that people thought, and still think, that he was but he wasn't. He made mistakes. I've seen what happens when people cling to king, but that's not my problem. I'm not here to fix Avalon, or to free anyone. What comes after doesn't matter. Let it all burn. Let them stand, let them fall. It's not my concern. At least it won't be another king's failure. Another lie. Call it chaos, call it freedom, I don't care. I just want to watch it all come down. To see the last lie collapse under its own weight. What comes after? That's for the ones still... Then let it. If this world can't... Arthur's the only myth that still holds weight. And when he's a puppet king, maybe they'll keep pretending for... I've lived longer than any man should. Seen more than anyone should ever bear. And I've waited Orin's a druid. That's what they do. They believe. I don't believe it's my decision to make. Not Orin's, not Arthur's. I've watched this cycle turn too many times. I have no stake in what comes. We were fools to tamper with forces we didn't understand. Resurrecting Arthur, infusing him with powers of the weirdness. We didn't just bend the natural law. Such violations of nature's order cannot... This cannot be a... Listen, it's taken longer than I ever imagined. But now, you've brought Arthur's soul back together. Almost complete, but not quite. So, thank you. You're close now. Just one more step, and then... we'll go. Find the last piece, and let's end this. Whatever comes next.
You've come. The one who carries what's left of me. Please, don't come any just. Because I've had enough. Enough of being torn apart and stitched back together. Do you know what it is like to be a king of nothing? To see the people you swore to protect. I've seen towns burnt to the ground, families destroyed. Or I've been dragged through every dream. And most of all, I'm tired. I want release. I want to stop. Kill me. Destroy the last piece of me and use the energy however you wish. Take it yourself and become the new king. Give it to someone else. I don't care. Just don't let me come back. Orin wants a king, not me. He doesn't see the broken man behind the myth. He sees a symbol, a weapon, but symbols aren't people. They're empty. And the more they're used, the more they hollow out the one who carries them. Do you know what it's like to be a weapon? He thinks ending me will free Avalon. But what then? Without an idea, and people always seek something to take that away, and they'll tear each other apart trying, let me die. Not as Arthur, not as the king. Another way? There's always another way, isn't there? But please, not for me. Not anymore. Isn't that what you've been doing all along? Carrying what's left of him? You've already taken up the humanity. Doesn't that prove Arthur does? I don't care. Do you know how freeing that is, to finally not care what happens next? Whether to not feel the burden of all my failures, to not see the suffering my name causes. No more deaths in my shadow. No more kingdoms built on my bones. Do what you think is right. That's all I can tell you. Because whatever you decide, and that's the only thing. You hold the choice. I don't care who you side with, Orin, Caradoc, or no one at all. You have all of my soul. Use it. Take it for yourself. I don't eat. Just let me go. Let me die.
Help me bring the king back. Whole and now you need. I made my cake. This is the. Oh.
Go on. Go on.
Nice to see you. Let me go.
You carried a dying king across the bones of a dying world. Now you stand before what I am the reason there must be an. I do not guide. I do not judge. I exist. I do not offer meaning. You have brought. Now, choose. You will vanish into the story you chose to restore. You will break the frame, and what follows will not remember you. You will be seen. You will shape the world to become its witness. dear shall endure.
I begged you not to do this. I begged you.
No, I won't let this happen. Not again.
Let this battle be my verse.
Through your sacrifice, the king returned, entire, unbroken, and ready to reclaim his throne. You held faith that Avalon's fate still turned with him, that one last rising could bring balance to the broken land. Now he rules again, and the world bends to the weight of your choice, for salvation or for ruin. You gave everything to restore the king, and your journey ended with his return. Closing your eyes upon the sight of Arthur's triumph, you felt no regret, only the certainty that your final choice had been the right one. With One Eye and Captain Brandon working side by side, the South found a peace it hadn't known in years. The roads stayed open, the fields were guarded, and the people finally felt safe. No longer bound to Camelot or the Knights of the Round Table, it became a land ruled by its own people on its own terms. The men here stayed in Kuanak, but Yvain failed to rally the minds and hearts needed for his Grail quest. With no clear leaders and rising tension, both Kuanak and Camelot grew fragile, drifting toward division, with no one left to hold the line. You awakened the giants and gave their strength to Camelot, ending the Dar-Wita rebellion before it could ignite. In time, a new generation rose among the tribes, learning to coexist under Camelot's banner, no longer feared as savages, but respected as part of Avalon's future. Firgas was named the new Galahad the Loyal. With One Eye and Brandon unable to rally the Dar-Wita of the Forlorn Swords, the South remained divided. Firgas prepared Camelot's forces to reclaim the region by strength, determined to restore unity through conquest if necessary. The captain led the South to independence, breaking all ties with Camelot. Under his rule, the Horns of the South flourished. Merchants, pilgrims, and adventurers returned to the roads, and prosperity once again reached the far corners of the land. One Eye ruled the South with the Horns of the South at his side. The Dar-Wita, the Forlorn Swords, remained divided, leaving the South strong but isolated. Without wider unity, his rule endured for a time. But the future beyond his leadership remained uncertain. Nianta left Kuanak with Yvain, and her fate remained unknown. Yet among the people she once served, tales of her devotion and courage endured, and her name was remembered with respect. Maggot chose to remain in Kuanak, and the people stayed with him. Over time, they grew to trust him and often sought his wisdom. In time, he took on an apprentice, planting the first seeds of a new druidic tradition. Eufre left Kuanak alongside Yvain, despite concerns about his age. His fate remained unknown, but the people admired him for finding purpose at the end of his life, and spoke of him with lasting respect. Fabius and Leal disappeared from the Red Church's reach, but their life together soon unraveled. With no child and no cause to unite them, they parted ways, and Fabius faded into obscurity. Ailey turned to the merchants for support, and for a time the hospital prospered. But when they began charging patients for care, she walked away and opened her own small practice, refusing to serve profit over healing. With Helmi as the new matron, the Volker returned to their former glory with renewed ferocity, their berserkers filled with an aggression that stirred quiet fear among the other tribes. Among the united tribes of the Dal Rita, the Volker were treated with equal parts awe and mistrust, seeming to teeter closer and closer to madness. Ingui led the Thoid into the eternal sleep, honoring the path her people had chosen. The Thoid were no longer seen in Avalon, their legacy left behind in the memories of those who once knew them. Ingui turned away from the eternal sleep, choosing life over dreams. In time, she began to rebuild the Thoid among the living, planting the first seeds of a new future for her scattered people. Under Dav Hamra's leadership, the Ulf grew stronger but more isolated. The tribe and the Stone Wardens became one, bound by a new symbol of strength, a steady hand against the chaos beyond their borders. With the Stagfather slain and the old bonds broken, Balaam led the Svine towards a new path. He opened the tribe to the other clans of the Dal Rita and guided them to settle in the Mather mines. You accepted the mycelium's offer and let the spores consume Sagramor's body. Now the kingdom lies under fungal control, its people connected, obedient, and slowly fading into the roots that feed the spores. You chose to free the Four-Dwellers, but captivity had broken their minds. They turned on their savior and were slain. Without the song, the Stone Warden craft ended, and their legacy was lost with the death of the last of their order. After returning to Camelot, Killian lived quietly for a time. When he vanished, few asked questions. Unsettling rumors had always followed him, and most preferred not to remember. O Queen Cinnamon Sage never forgot the bond he shared with you. Proud of the path you chose, he built a small shop near your grave, and in quiet moments, still spoke to you as he once did. A friend loyal beyond the bounds of life.
or have I wandered?
I'll stay far away.
Your command.
Another vessel of... I sensed the stench. Was it the church? The druids? Or have the old... Don't answer. All paths lead to eternal darkness. The wheel of... You seek the crossroads, like all others before you, as if it would save you from what awaits beyond. I am Baharit. It's where the weak get... It does. Your soul is marked by corruption. If you seek liberation from the chains of flesh, I can open the... Your life has been nothing but a cosmic joke. Just say... Then my vigil is... Excellent. Let blood be the...
Remember your night. Let me be your shadow.
Is that why I came?
Not even death frees me from my oath.
meet again, Lost Prince. I was mistaken about our previous encounter. I erred in thinking I had unraveled what the Pale Lady had planned for the both of us. But I should have known better than to presume or anticipate the moves of someone as shrewd as her. You meeting me, as I mentioned upon you, a fortunate weave of various events that, under a different alignment of... However, it turns out that I was meant to fulfill a specific role. To weave bridges between you and her despair. Bridges that would allow you to gather the memory shards. She used me. I see now that she seeks to restore the bonds that once were. The pain of a mother who has lost her child, it is difficult to comprehend. For centuries, we never had to face loss. And then only by gazing upon you humans, we had to deal with the idea to live in a world in which everything has to die. She hopes that by restoring her son's memory, she will finally bring him back. Yet she does not realize how... But those driven... Places like this one, or on their own, they're nothing more than aberration. To bridge your reality and ours. In both instances, I believed all my efforts were aimed at... But the truth was... The Archspire was a bridge to the place where her son was born. In that cave, I wove the prince. It seems that since we lost the war against your kind, we retreated to Tuathan. All the while, for centuries, places like this seem... I am tired, Prince. Never imagined that... Oh, to accept that... So, it is true. I suspected that gazing upon the homelands by the knot grew tight. I did not dare to peer beyond. I feel that what lies ahead is bound to a profound... It is between you. Prince, leave me behind. I played my role in this spectacle. Hopefully that will grant me freedom. Farewell.
There's no greater joy than watching how a son, born of desire, grows. There's no greater despair than watching how a son, born of one's own thought, perishes. And now you stand here, hidden deep within, and even I cannot fathom what my heart feels, still torn, for you are not wholly him, my son, my prince of... Yet there is a flicker of joy within me, for you carry the soul of an Arthur, whose life was chosen. This means the fragments of memory I gathered, and the heart, bleeding and plagued, a fragment of me. My tears seeped into your soil, the specter. Unintentionally. I could not have known the depths of when it started to spread. I couldn't find... Arthur believed that abandoning the homelands would stop the plague. The Red Church committed truly horrific acts in their desperate attempt to halt. Yet, no matter what you humans do, and so, you will drown in my tears. I want my son. You walk your own path. I hope that, among them, you will find a way to... However, I cannot impose my will upon you. I believe so. And you, since my son's fate became entwined with that of Arthur, the King of Mortals, you will also need the fragments of my son's memory. The ones beyond that, the Weaver may possess something helpful. His life-giving spindle, it may prove invaluable. He is no longer bound by the places I created for him, where he could... I have a feeling he may have returned to his workshop. It is a tale about the Prince of the Four Dwellers, Arthur. We are connected. In the homelands, I met him during his journey. I gifted him with the sword, the spectre, of which you now carry. He is someone very dear to me. Someone I lost decades. As you already know, we found a way to gaze upon the homelands. When one has to deal with entropy, and you must have designed. Oh, the Weaver. I remember the spark of joy that lit up his pale face when he saw what emerged from the threads of weirdness like a living being. You always had a fondness for my child. He called him. In the homelands, I saw a powerful thing that we Four Dwellers lacked. It was love. We lived in a world where everything was potent and possible. It made us live. Our emotional structure was much less complicated than yours. You were quite an inspiration. Yes, I am fully aware that my will to bring Arthur to the shores of Avalon brought war and ruin upon my own. What would you— There are no proper words for this. I will Yes, although that was a horribly distorted part of me. Living as it— Now I feel more whole. The emptiness. Ah, yes. Bound to Arthur through kinship. They were close enough that some of my despair reached her as well. A different kind, however. She was able to find and gaze into it. I pity her. The fate that befell her is truly dreadful. One aspect of the potential of the weirdness is that it can serve as a tool. For that, I needed a craftsman. Someone who could sense even the thinnest threads of that potential as part of a greater whole. Every Four Dweller could manipulate the weirdness to some degree. But not all did so with the finesse of the Weaver. He could harness that potential for something far, far greater, like weaving a new life. My skills lay elsewhere. Among them was to see a different world. A world without the weirdness. A world filled with meaning and purpose. Constructed through intricate connections. A single living organism. Yet full of I feel that sometimes... Are you sure? This may be our last meeting before the end of things. I am listening. Are you sure? This may be our... So, it is done. I am glad my heart could host you. I hope you will succeed in reaching the goal you pursue. You leave this place with another shard. Use the one more thing. That perfect obedience will no longer be your burden. It was never my will, but rather a flawed interpretation by human. Farewell.
The center cannot hold, little prince. The fall, it is already here. Step further, and see for yourself. So you have arrived. I look at you and I feel what you human... Lies and lost purpose. The Pale Lady managed to create places full of accumulated weirdness. I thought that those were gifts from her. For all those centuries we spent together. A vote of thanks for creating you. But no. After our second meeting, I quit all my attempts to weave a new Foredweller. How odd. A place that was once my workshop. I spent decades here unraveling the secret. Eventually, I learned enough about the structure of pure potential to weave life itself. Before that, my kin emerged from the depths of Tuathan, born out of the chaos. You, my prince, were my greatest pride. The most beautiful creation I ever will. Yes, it consumes me entirely. I regret creating you. I regret that your death, Prince, was not final. Regret. If you had never come to be, she looked at the humans and everything that has happened. No, the world is chaos. Fate is governed by threads of events that seem unrelated. That they weave together in not the Pale Lady, the Prince, and the once and future King Arthur. This and I'm deeply...
So, I hope... Just... But if you go...
At last we meet. Feud and I've what it's oh yeah but they he that I will be ever if they help me and they I was there. But you but what? And we will suddenly and go.
You've come to victory. I it's to he I just that it does. I do. I just let.
help me bring at the
Go on.
Doing okay? Let.
You carry. I do not. You have now. Choose. He shall find his way home. The tear between the worlds shall. You. Then the prince will ascend and return to his mother. The heart shall cease its bleed.
No, I won't let this happen. Not again.
I wonder if you still believe it.
You uncovered the truth buried in the weirdness and used it to return Arthur to where he truly belonged, ending the cycle and securing Avalon's future. The Four-Dweller Mother's heart, no longer bleeding, sealed the wound in the world, and with it, ended the Red Death that had stolen so many lives. And so, the legend of King Arthur began to fade. In its place grew a stronger Avalon, where the weirdness was no longer feared, but understood. With One Eye and Captain Brandon working side by side, the South found a peace it hadn't known in years. The roads stayed open, the fields were guarded, and the people finally felt safe. No longer bound to Camelot or the Knights of the Round Table, it became a land ruled by its own people on its own terms. The men here stayed in Kuanacht, but Yvain failed to rally the minds and hearts needed for his Grail quest. With no clear leaders and rising tension, both Kuanacht and Camelot grew fragile, drifting toward division, with no one left to hold the line. You awakened the giants and gave their strength to Camelot, ending the Dar Rita rebellion before it could ignite. In time, a new generation rose among the tribes, learning to coexist under Camelot's banner, no longer feared as savages, but respected as part of Avalon's future. Fergus was named the new Galahad the Loyal. With One Eye and Brandon unable to rally the Dar Rita of the Forlorn Swords, the South remained divided. Fergus prepared Camelot's forces to reclaim the region by strength, determined to restore unity through conquest if necessary. The captain led the South to independence, breaking all ties with Camelot. Under his rule, the Horns of the South flourished. Nianta left Kuanacht with Yvain and her... Fabius and Leal disappeared, with Helmi as the new mate. You accepted the myceliums. You chose to free. After returning to Camelot,